Good evening and welcome to our second edition of UBC News Tonight on this Thursday, the 20th of April 2023. I'm Lorraine Masika Kazimoto. Now we start off this news bulletin with Uganda Muslim Supreme Council has announced that Eid prayers will be held tomorrow, Friday, the 21st of April 2023. Now the acting director of Sharia, Sheikh Zayed Lubanga, made the announcement at the National Mosque and urged Muslims to celebrate in the path of Allah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Praise be to Allah, who revealed the book to the servant and made it free from any crookedness. Peace and blessings be upon to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to whom Allah sent the Holy Quran in the month of Ramadan. Allah says, وَلِتُكْمِلُوا الْعِدَّةَ وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. That Allah wants for you to complete the period and to glorify Allah for that to which He has guided you, and perhaps you will be grateful. Surah Al-Baqarah chapter number 2 verse 185. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Sumu li ru'yatihi wa aftiru li ru'yatihi, that observe Sawm fasting on sighting the crescent of Ramadan, and break or terminate it on sighting in the new month, in the new moon of Shawwal. That is Bukhari and Muslim agreed upon. Dear brothers and sisters, I would like to inform you and all Muslims in Uganda that the moon of Shawwal has been sighted this evening. Therefore, Eid al-Fitr will be celebrated tomorrow, Friday 21st April 2023. The national prayer will be held at National Mosque at all the Kampala Uganda Muslim Supreme Council headquarters, and will be led by His Eminence, the Mufti of Uganda, Dr. Sheikh Sha'ban Ramadan Mubajji. Prayers will commence at exactly 8 a.m. On behalf of Uganda Muslim Supreme Council and His Eminence, the Mufti of Uganda, I wish all Muslim fraternity a successful celebration of Eid al-Fitr according to the Islamic teachings and guidance. May Allah bless you.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has donated 300 million shillings to NRM party acquired in court awards in defamatory damages caused to his personality and his inner security circle by Daily Monitor Publications newspaper during the second COVID-19 lockdown, under a screaming defamatory headline titled "Museveni and his inner security details vaccinated against COVID-19 using China's Sinovac vaccine." The money was delivered by the president's lawyers to the party secretariat on Thursday. Philip Aguta was at the NRM party headquarters and filed this report.
President Museveni had instructed his lawyers to sue Daily Monitor newspaper in 2021 after Daily Monitor defamed his personality and that of his inner security details under a screaming defamatory headline titled "Museveni and his inner security details vaccinated against COVID-19 using China Sinovac vaccine." This didn't go down well with the president, despite his directive at the time that frontline health workers should be the first to be vaccinated.
His Excellency, of course, was not happy with that because it went contrary to what we know of him and his character and the statements that he made publicly. So he gave us instructions as lawyers to sue for defamation which we did.
The absence of the substantive evidence to hold the fulcrum of the case in court, the paper developed a cold feet and the matter was settled out of the court, with irreparable court award of Ugandan shillings 300 million to President Museveni.
Midway through the trial, Monitor newspaper requested that this suit is settled amicably between the parties. So they agreed to apologize and publish the apology, which they did.
With the payment of the court award, the president has donated the money to the NRM party. The Ugandan shillings 300 million lump sum pay was received by the party officials headed by the Secretary General Richard Todong. They pledged to use the money to set up party offices in Greater Luwero district.
We congratulate His Excellency the President for winning this battle, and that means anybody is free to go and challenge cases of defamation against him or her. And that tells you how transparent our legal systems are, that if the President can go to court and win a case, it speaks volumes to our system. So we thank the President through his lawyers, and we also congratulate the lawyers, and we appreciate this generous donation to the party.
To also thank the Secretary General and the entire team for choosing Luwero District as the beneficiary of this precedent-setting initiative. And I want also to commit on behalf of the Luwero District. We have already engaged with them, and the land is available, and we are ready to start as a party.
Philip Aguta for UBC News in Kampala.
Now, Muslim leaders from Karamoja and Teso meeting in Soroti City have been asked to maintain peace because a peaceful and stable Uganda is good for everyone, regardless of tribe, religion and gender. The Vice President, Jessica Lupo, commended the Muslims for supporting the patriotic and Pan-African agenda of the NRM government, which aims at unifying the people of Uganda and Africa. The Vice President, Alupo, was representing President Museveni at the second annual Ataka Muslim Foundation, which brought together over 200 Muslim leaders from Karamoja, Teso in Soroti.
Allah Akbar. Thank you very much, Mufti. Thank you for welcoming me and all the distinguished leaders of the Muslim community to this convention. I am happy yet again to have another very nice ceremony with the Muslim community. I've been getting opportunities to have interaction with the Muslim community, sometimes given to me by His Excellency the President, but also sometimes myself I look for the Muslim community to interact. I want to thank His Excellency the President because he has again given me this opportunity this morning to interact with you. The message of the President is, I would like to thank the leadership of Ataka Muslim Development Foundation for inviting me to officiate as chief guest at the second annual Ramadan convention under the theme, Resource Mobilization for Socio-Economic Transformation of Society. I thank you for organizing this important convention for the Muslim leaders from Teso and Karamoja. The NRM government recognizes the positive contribution of the Muslim community to the peace, unity, and development of Uganda. A peaceful and stable Uganda is good for everyone, regardless of tribe, religion, gender, etc. Since 1986, The NRM government has demonstrated a willingness to work with everybody, as long as they respect and champion the legitimate interests of the people of Uganda and Africa. Therefore, I would like to commend the Muslim fraternity in Uganda for supporting the patriotic and Pan-African agenda of the NRM government. I therefore urge Muslim leaders who enjoy close proximity with our people to continue mobilizing communities to utilize the numerous advantages Uganda enjoys to create wealth for the homes and jobs for the young people. We should not tolerate bystanders or spectators in the drive towards increasing the household incomes and creation of jobs. I thank you.
Can you please rise for the singing of the anthems?
The Anti-Corruption Court in Kololo has granted a cash bail of 10 million Uganda shillings to the State Minister of Finance and Planning, Amos Lugolobi, over offences of dealing with suspect property. The court, however, imposed stringent terms to Minister Lugolobi, including surrendering his 2 title deeds to court as well as his travel documents.
Security was tight at the Anti-Corruption Court in Kololo as the State Minister for Finance, Amos Lugolobi, was brought to court to proceed with the hearing of his bail application. Minister Lugolobi is grappling with offences of dealing with suspect property involving the mismanagement of iron sheets meant for the Karamoja region. In the last court sitting, Minister Lugolobi, through his lawyers, asked court to grant him bail on grounds of his poor health condition and by presenting 6 sureties. Thursday morning, while delivering his ruling on this matter, Magistrate Herbert Asimo granted a 10 million shillings cash bail to Minister Lugolobi and 100 million shillings non-cash to the sureties.
Having judiciously and meticulously weighed one factor against the other, I'm inclined to grant the applicant bail on the following terms. He shall surrender his original land title, Block 26-1, Plot 730, Mengo District, Chadondo County in Sabagabo Sub-County. The applicant shall not leave this country without knowledge and permission of this court and shall surrender his original diplomatic passport to this court.
In doing so, Magistrate Asimo said that Minister Lugolobi fulfilled all the necessary conditions required by court to release him on bail.
Did not bring any of the negative antecedents of the applicant to the attention of court. In absence of the evidence or information that suggests that the applicant has a bad antecedent, makes me to believe that the recommendation of the chairperson LC1 that the applicant has a good antecedent.
Magistrate Herbert Asimo said 2nd June 2023 to proceed with the case. After court, supporters of Minister Lugolobi were pleased with the magistrate's ruling.
Okubali mbaka wafu amusimba munyimbude mukomera ge mazima kusinzira kubujuliza obuliwo nti nsaba banonyereze kwani yafulumya ebintu kubanga ebintu yabisayininga era nabifuna mu kusayiningibwa babuuze lwaki oli yabita okubiwono nga bisayininga
abadde nja kusevuna obuzibunga sizeeyo na mbaka wange Amos Lugolobi nganze chairman LC1 bingi byatukoledde ku bitundu byaffe.
After I think maybe this coming week will come to Kayunga, all of us in Kayunga today we are happy.
Prosecution alleges that State Minister for Finance and Planning Amos Lugolobi was wrongfully found with 700 iron sheets, which were allegedly obtained from the opium stores in Namamve. Meanwhile, High Court Criminal Division has set 8th May 2023 to deliver a ruling whether the 6 people accused in the murder of Maria Nagilinya and Leonard Chitaimbwa have a case to answer. This followed when prosecution closed its defense in the matter with 21 witnesses. Although the ruling was meant for today, this was impossible due to the absence of the trial judge Isaac Mwata. Rebecca Natongo, Susan Nabugude, UBC News.
Section 28, Clause 3A and the Evidence Act, Section 101, Clause 1 and 2 stipulates that the burden of proof remains in the hands of the complainant to prove a case against any accused person. These include facts or ingredients in the case which court can base on to convict or acquit the accused with the offence. Since all the ministers facing prosecution in the Karamoja Iron Sheets saga pleaded not guilty to the alleged offences against them, the DPP's office now has a burden to prove its case to have them convicted or acquitted. Deborah Namamonde reports.
Without the prosecution coming up with such evidence.
In the interim, 3 ministers have been arraigned in court over the mismanagement of Karamoja Iron Sheets. The suspected ministers behind the band out on bail include the Minister for Karamoja Affairs and Woman Member of Parliament for Manafwa, Dr. Margaret Chitutu, State Minister for Karamoja Affairs, Agnes Nandutu, and State Minister for Finance, Amos Rugorobi, not excluding on the charge sheet the young brother to Minister Margaret Chitutu, Naboya Michael Chitutu. The 4 who appeared at the Anti-Corruption Court for trial pleaded not guilty to the alleged offences. But under what circumstances can one plead guilt and why?
Every person has got that right. There is nothing wrong with pleading not guilty and later on being convicted. It is your constitutional right to say I'm not guilty and you let the government prove it. That's how our system works.
The accused person is also at liberty just to keep quiet. The judicial officer will enter a plea of not guilty. It's all about the evidence by the state. And the statements we make outside the court are not, generally speaking, are not evidence against that particular person.
With any offence levelled against any suspect, the climax of the case comes when the accused is acquitted or convicted with offence. But who has the burden of proof to prove any case before court?
It may say a person who steals, and then you go into stealing to find out what are the ingredients of stealing. You'll find that 1, taking somebody's property. 2, intentionally to permanently deprive that person. You can only convict Lugorovi. According to me, to my opinion, I may be wrong, you can only convict him if you can prove that he knew that the minister had acquired these properties illegally.
With the 53 alleged members of parliament and ministers involved in the Karamoja Iron Sheets scandal, prosecution has so far presented 3 ministers to court for trial.
When the pension case came up, it was a huge amorphous case. We had so many suspects. We struggled with it for 1 full year until it was dismissed when we had not started the case. So this particular case would be one of the kind. And let's have each beneficiary, let's open a file for each beneficiary who received. So that if A says, I received, how did you receive it?
Even if they present all suspects, say, for instance, 10 suspects, 7 of them plead guilty and 3 plead not guilty, the court will convict the 7 and the prosecution will have the burden to prove that indeed even the 7, the 3 committed the offense.
The DPP carries out investigations and charges people, accused person, according to the evidence he has. The DPP may have other suspects, but is still building, they're still collecting evidence against them. So although they may be the prime suspects, the fact that she's still collecting evidence, she can still put them aside.
The charges of dealing with suspect property is alleged to have been committed by Minister Amos Rugorobi and Agnes Nandutu, who was on Wednesday this week committed to High Court for trial.
So for the case of Honorable Agnes Nandutu, the inquiries were 100%. We were ready to start hearing the case. So there's There's nothing really unique about it, apart from the fact that inquiries are 100%, and we made a decision that it should be committed to the High Court.
Following the charges against the three ministers, one may think of seeing them out of their respective offices and even resign. However, Legal Minds highlights circumstances. The two decisions can be applied.
That is really a personal decision for a political leader to come to the conclusion that continuing to hold a position is not tenable, that it is not, it can no longer be justified to continue as a minister.
One of the reasons as to why interdiction is effected is to allow investigations during the disciplinary proceedings. As regards to morality, you know, somebody may look at it from a moral point of view. I say it's real that this has happened.
Being that those alleged to have been involved in Karamoja and Sheets saga are facing charges at the Anti-Corruption Court, there is no doubt that their actions involved corruption. With the enactment of the Anti-Corruption Act, aimed at addressing and punishing those involved in the vice of corruption. But the question remains, has the law been applied to its fullest?
The willingness of the duty bearers, the capacity of the duty bearers to do the needful.
Implementation plus adequate funding. You want a CID officer who is investigating a huge crime and is coming from a grass factory house.
It's alleged that ministers who acquired the Karamoja and Sheets distributed them to their voters, while others donated them.
But I ordered that they should be given to schools. I did not open a shop, sell them, but they were given to schools.
If I had primary schools who also had requested differently, I would have divided the iron sheets.
No, they will definitely be helping in investigations. They will not be, unless if those beneficiaries sold those iron sheets, then they will definitely be charged. But if it is taken to a church and it was a donation to a church and they roof a church, why would we charge them? They would just be aiding us, in helping us in investigations.
However, Legal Minds have a different view as regards to the issue at hand.
If you charge a minister with theft and the minister says, yes, I took those mabati, but if you go to Namaingo Primary School, you will find that mabati on the school owned by government. There is no theft. So you must prove all the ingredients.
All in all, if police investigations are complete, with those who will be arraigned in courts of law to be prosecuted, the ball remains in the hands of the prosecution to prove its case against those alleged in the Karamoja and Sheets scandal.
Now to a first headlining story this evening. President Yoweri Museveni is to return the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 to Parliament to address a few concerns regarding some of the clauses. The President, who hailed Parliament for passing the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023, wants the bill to cater for psychological disoriented persons who would need rehabilitation. The President will next week meet the Parliament Legal Affairs Committee and Asuman Basalirwa, the mover of the bill, to harmonize on the concerns raised before the bill is signed into law. Daniel Mugoya reports.
To confirm that the government is fully behind this.
On 21st March 2023, Parliament unanimously passed the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 to criminalize homosexuality in Uganda.
There's a need for a legislation to enhance offences relating to homosexuality.
In a session which was chaired by the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, the House passed the bill with stringent clauses penalizing homosexuality and related actions in Uganda.
A clause to be amended as proposed by the committee.
Hardly a month before the President could sign the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023, President Yoweri Museveni has met the National Resistance Movement caucus to further discussions on a few concerns. The president first hailed Parliament for what he described as a courageous move to reject pressure from the imperialists whom the president says have messed up the world for the last 600 years.
We must be patriotic. If we are parasitic in the mind of a parasite, there's no way you can fight. That's how you become a prostitute. Because you fear sacrifice, you fear difficulties. Somebody says, I will give you money if you become a prostitute.
The president exhibited few gaps in the clauses of the anti-homosexuality bill, putting across the need to cater for psychologically disoriented persons. This was in agreement with what the Attorney General Chirowa Chiwanuka informed the president, that the past anti-homosexuality bill criminalizes even those who voluntarily come out to have practiced homosexuality and need to be helped.
The major point of departure is only on the aspect of rehabilitation. So the bill in principle as passed has been upheld.
Honorable Pendi said they are willing to bring it here to help those of our people who have got themselves into that area and they want to change. So they have some doctors and they have a system that helps to change those people to being normal again.
The president has agreed to sign the anti-homosexuality bill, but after harmonizing on the cited gaps. Next week, the Parliamentary Legal Affairs Committee and the mover of the bill, Asman Basalirwa, will have a separate meeting with the president to cement the gaps detected in the bill before it is signed into law.
The details may now come on Tuesday when that meeting is convened and that meeting agrees that it is here or here or here. But for now, in principle, anything to do with promotion, anything to do with recruitment, anything to do with publicizing under the laws of Uganda as passed by Parliament has been upheld. The only area is the area of rehabilitation. I think that is where we also want to have a law with a human face.
It should be recalled that President Yoweri Museveni earlier in March 2023, while addressing Parliament, requested to have more consultations about homosexuality practice. Daniel Mugoya, Susan Nawonga, UBC News.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom voice bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, under the auspices of the East African Community, will host the 10th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2023 from the 9th to the 11th of May 2023 at the Kampala Serena Hotel in Uganda. Take full advantage of the investment opportunities in the East African region's vibrant oil and gas sector. To find out more on how to sponsor, exhibit, or attend the 10th EAPCE 23, visit www.eapce23.eac.int.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money, instant, secure, borderless.
Ekitufuula ekyenjawulo ge mazika agatali ga bulijjo ageekoledde erinnya. Ebirire by'omu gakiira ebyewuunyisa. Kw'ossa n'enjatuzo ebivuga eby'ekinnansi n'ebirala bingi. okuva ng'ennaku z'omwezi 26 okutuusa ng'ennaku z'omwezi 29 omwezi guno twegatteko ku Commonwealth Resort e Munyonyo mu mwoleso gw'obulambuzi ogwa Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo 2023. Jangu ovumbule nate ekyenjawulo ekiri mu kisaawe ky'ebyobulambuzi kye tukuteekateekedde. Tukyalire ku www.powate.co.ug obookinga ekifo kyo ate nga bweweteekateeka okuyiga kosa n'okuvumbula by'obadde tomanyi. Omwoleso gwa Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo 2023 gukutuusibwako Uganda Tourism Board nga bali wamu ne Competitiveness and Enterprise Development Project.
Explore Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me. And as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Iwakato, this is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial star 100 star 1 hash. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back from that break, and we're glad that you're still with us here on UBC News Tonight. Uganda National Examinations Board is investigating circumstances under which primary leaving examination slips of 2019 for over 3,000 pupils in Kampala schools went missing. While addressing the press on the activities of registration of candidates for 2023 at Media Center in Kampala, the Director Examinations UNEB, Mike Nangosia Masiche, said they worked out an amicable arrangement with KCCA to ensure that the result slips of these learners are reprinted and issued in good time.
The registration process for candidates to sit the 2023 examinations at primary, lower secondary and advanced level commenced, and the normal exercise will go on until May 31st, 2023. Uganda National Examinations Board has set a period for late registration which attracts surcharge. June 1st to 30th for PLE. It will be 100%, UCE 50% and USCE 50% on the normal registration fee of 34,000 shillings, 164,000 shillings and 186,000 shillings respectively.
July 1st to 31st, 100% for PLE will remain 68,000. 100% will translate into 328,000, and 100% USCE will translate into 372,000.
The board has warned school administrators against charging fees not prescribed by UNEB and misappropriation of examination registration fee. According to the UNEB Act 2021, any anomalies identified in the registration exercise deliberately attracts a fine of 40 million shillings or imprisonment not exceeding 10 years.
So government-aided schools are put on notice not to register privately sponsored candidates as government-sponsored candidates. This is a fraudulent practice that causes financial loss to government. Any head of an examination center or school director that will be found indulging in this practice shall pay thrice the amount that has been defrauded.
Parents and guardians of the candidates have been urged to take interest in the registration of their children and ensure they provide the right biodata like the name and date of birth.
Meanwhile, Uganda National Examinations Board has clarified on the issue of the missing 2019 PLE pass slips for 3,972 learners in 51 schools in Kampala, saying the results in question were duly printed by UNEB, signed for and taken by a designated officer of KCCA.
We have, as a matter of practice, when we get this, we block out the serial numbers of these certificates, and the investigations are ongoing. We would like to establish the reasons why, but the actions that we have taken are for emergency to get the candidates to sit the examinations without undue inconvenience.
UNEB officials say the second phase of validation of examination centres will take place from April 24th to May 10th, 2023. I'm Nafka Farida and Joel Vubia in Kampala.
Today, the Permanent Secretary and Secretary to Treasury announced the release of quarter four government expenditure funds for the last quarter of this financial year 2022-2023. The PSST, Dr. Ramadan Ngobi, noted that government operations in March 2023 resulted in a fiscal deficit of 822.88 billion, which was higher than the program deficit of 431.53 billion due to a combination of shortfalls in revenue and higher than planned expenditure for the month. Mark Wadulo with more.
Payment of government areas have continued to exceed their approved budget sum by 16.3% of the planned 661.95 billion, which now stands at 769.53 billion. This fourth quarter of the financial year 2022-23, government has released 2 trillion for non-wage expenditures, 1.6 trillion for wages, 1.3 trillion for Government of Uganda Development, allocating only 24.1 billion for the areas.
It is called budgetary repurposing. I am tired of hearing budget cuts. It's called budget repurposing. Money moving from certain areas to the priorities. That's the entire essence of what we call allocative efficiency in a budget. But some people are used to history of my budget. There is nobody in this republic who has their personal budgets. This is a national budget. When a nation agrees by consensus that these are the priorities, then the budget has to be repurposed to move money from those areas which have ceased to be the priority to those areas which are priority.
Gobi has emphasized the need for government officials, especially accounting officers, to negate the abundance mentality, which has often led government to borrow more than it's able to pay back sustainably.
Some countries, their capital markets have collapsed completely. They can't issue bonds. Why? Because they borrowed badly in the past. In Uganda, we are lucky that we've had this foresight leadership that maintained our debt levels at relatively manageable levels. But going forward, we need also to ensure that this is not only sustained but improved further by borrowing less.
International funding is declining and non-concessional sources are becoming more expensive. Therefore, effective tax administration and strategic public investment has become key in sustaining Uganda's economy.
We commend the efforts that had been started, that have been freezed now, merging the agencies to reduce public administration expenditure. But now it is stalled. Why is the process stalled? It would be important to comment on that because I think we are projected to save up over 800 billion.
There is also a continuing outcry from MDAs about not having funds, yet the ministry communicates that funds are being released. Where could the gap be?
Some of our ministries, departments and agencies misrepresent facts. They say, you see, finance is releasing air. They give us a release, but they don't give us money. Please, on my platform, I have very few invoices, and we keep on paying them as cash comes in. We run a cash budget. When cash comes, we give them the money.
Despite witnessing a slight decline in inflation in the past month due to various fiscal interventions by government, the PSST, Ramadan Gobi, insists that government expenditure will remain focused on the earlier prioritized programs. Reporting for UBC News, Wadulo Mark Arnold at the Finance Ministry in Kampala.
Government has launched the second phase of the Settlement Transformation Agenda, a tool used to ensure refugees are self-reliant and promote social development in the refugee hosting communities. According to the Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Hilary Onek, the Settlement Transformation Agenda 2 is a demonstration that Uganda is ready to continue hosting refugees, although he was quick to remind partners on the importance of financial support, especially in times of refugee influx. Dorcas Kimono with more.
Uganda has for years shouldered the continent when it comes to hosting refugees fleeing from political and civil uprisings from neighboring countries. However, this humanitarian cause comes with a tall order on Uganda's economy, especially the host communities. Already, government devised the means of addressing these hiccups through programs like the Settlement Transformation Agenda, although it is a costly venture. First launched in 2014, the Settlement Transformation Agenda is credited for offering a platform for humanitarian agencies to shoulder Uganda to carry on with the good work.
For example, if a refugee needs to cross to go to a health facility, students want to go to a school, this is how they benefit this kind of infrastructure. The roads are being fixed for them, the health centers are being fixed for them.
This was during the launch of the Settlement Transformation Agenda 2 at Hotel Africana in Kampala. The UNHCR country representative underscored the need for coordination between humanitarian and development funding for impactful intervention.
When STA1 was launched, at that time, Uganda was not necessarily receiving development funding for refugee hosting areas. This started somewhere around 2017, 2018. So now that we are launching STA2, it will be very good to incorporate in that strong coordination between humanitarian funding and development funding.
The government of Japan, the leading partner in the struggle, renewed her commitment to further facilitate this cause.
If you look at the Ajamani population, half are refugees. Okay, so when I went there, I saw classrooms, one classroom, 200 kids. Okay, now, and the local communities are accepting. See, we have to do something. So we add classroom blocks. Also, the same reason is that when they get sick, they go to health center.
Hilary Onek, the Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, lauded the Embassy of Japan in Uganda on this, urging other development partners to follow suit.
They have to finance it because refugees is not our problem as Uganda. These refugees are from neighborhood where they have political problems and some of those primitive differences of tribal killing each other. Then they run into our country here. It's not our problem, it's an international problem.
According to statistics, Uganda is Africa's largest refugee hosting country with over 1.5 million refugees from her neighbors like South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Dorcas Kimono, UBC TV News.
UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but we return with business stories.
Jerry con. Jerry con. Hey, Master Blaster. Touch him, man. Bang Jerry con with muscle. Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava. Best movies I teach you. When I'm going to the muscari. Because of the camera is very far. Is you serious? Is serious you? What can I watch? Yeah? You stay put on it. Add kilometers to your legs, and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru, and Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru,
okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me, and as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Tecno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256 GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Toakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3 GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months, so you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100*5# to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Tecno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Tecno. Stop at nothing.
Welcome back from that break. And now into the business scene. The first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Community Affairs, retired Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, has directed URA, the Directorate of Immigration and Security Agencies, to open the 2 closed gates at Malaba-Busia border with immediate effect. The directive seeks to ease cross-border trade between Uganda and Kenyan traders to enhance movement of goods and services as enshrined in the EAC trade partnership agreements.
Ever since the closure of the 2 gates at the Malaba-Busia border, the business community here has been facing challenges ranging from diversion of empty truckers, excessive force used by URA officers, and iron-handed collection of local revenue. When URA closed the 2 gates, traders from Kenya and Uganda started suffering trekking of long distances. This affected timely delivery of goods and services, including incurring huge costs in the transportation of goods.
From these dwellers, let URA also collect what they are collecting as required by the law. But to manage this town and to earn from the border and for the growth of our government, the local government, the town council should collect from the dwellers.
The fruitful engagement that saw the 2 gates opened were held at the URA gates at Malaba, one-stop border point. Godfrey Balamaga, the manager customs, Eastern Region, and Adinaitwe Prosper, the officer in charge of immigration, Malaba, said the decision was done to reduce on traffic.
So in the event an empty truck will come, it will have nowhere to pass.
Small gate is open, but only for the local communities, this side and the other side, but not for people of national security interest.
The first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Community Affairs, Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, committed government to support traders in Malaba to have their own market and industrial park.
The other thing is that they don't have a market. It's also going part of my report to ensure that Malaba, the border, has got a good market with storage facilities. Because I've been complaining that their goods are rotting because of nowhere to store them. So these are some of the measures that we have taken.
Uganda National Bureau of Standards has tasked bulk food consumers to take the lead role in fighting the consumption of uncertified food. This was during a dialogue in Kampala with heads of academic institutions where they urged participants to adopt the practice of procuring food from only certified companies.
With the influx of substandard goods in the Ugandan market, the National Bureau of Standards has urged heads of academic institutions to spearhead a drive that will ensure only certified products are consumed in their institutions.
We are going to use all the avenues possible, beginning from you, but also government airtime in UBC, and other networks to really say that you must be your own guardian first. If you want to survive, please look for good food.
This initiative intends to persuade all bulk food consumers to shun away from the manufacturers and suppliers whose standards do not meet the quality yardstick.
We need to reflect our mandate and actually be aggressive. We've been too soft for too long. We want to ask you, please do the right thing. We don't like to be seen in the market destroying and throwing food everywhere. It doesn't help our image either.
So our effort is to inculcate quality thinking, not only at the consumer level, but at the processor level and at the producer level, so that we can have quality throughout the value chain.
Schools and other institutions such as prisons and hospitals are bulk purchasers of goods like maize flour, rice and beans. This call for uncompromised quality and forms a basis upon which the dialogue was held.
My question is it being soft or being compromised?
And I would also wish you to tell us how you are going to be tracking these people, because for us sometimes you are waiting for them, but when you go to Chikubu, when you go to every town, you find people are saying that we are doing milling, and we are here to provide the best service for you, but no one is looking at what they're doing.
If we are to put standards, I'm afraid that some producers outside might outcompete the local producers near the schools. And if they outcompete them, the child will be affected.
Accordingly, the Uganda National Bureau of Standards has revealed that the number of certified companies authorized to supply products can now be found on their website.
First things first, we are saying that the first time food gets to the school, it must be certified food. So that guarantees that on arrival, we know that we have gotten good food. The second stage is how do you manage that food while at school?
During the dialogue, emphasis was put on food hygiene, with concerns raised on handling practices in the storage facilities.
I know most of us parents take our children to schools and academic institutions and don't really mind what they feed on. But from this dialogue here, I think it's high time you do so. Dennis Igoa for UBC News in Kampala.
Thank you, Dennis Sigoa. Now, Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities have met authorities and stakeholders in the tourism sector in Fort Portal Tourism City to discuss how best they can revamp, boost and develop domestic tourism in the region to increase revenue generated from both local and foreign tourists. During the engagement, State Minister for Tourism, Martin Mugara Mahanduka, revealed that the tourism sector interiorly was affected by COVID-19 and needs to carry out a campaign to boost and revamp Uganda's tourism sector.
Fort Portal is a tourism city which is rapidly growing at high rate due to various tourist destinations in the region. Local leaders, experts, tour operators and other stakeholders, together with the Ministry of Tourism, have convened in Fort Portal City to exchange ideas on how best they can revamp and develop domestic tourism, including tourism sites in Toro Kingdom.
Let's position ourselves to benefit from the nature that God gave us free, and we should tap into it and be rich and, of course, get out of poverty.
The nightlife of Fort Portal is amazing. I am one of those who have been pushing, and I want to inform the ministry that we have set up one of the best motor sport circuits in Africa.
During the engagement, they exchanged ideas on how to market tourism sites in Toro for the local and foreign exchange currencies. They identified some sites that require rehabilitation for easy access to tourists.
Kibale National Park. People know it for chimpanzees. It's called like the private capital of the world, but there are more than that. We have birds, we have nature walks. We want to increase the number of habituated gorillas that people can do. We want in Septori here to put a cable car. We kept talking about it for long, but now we have got money, and that product will be developed because World Bank is going to fund it. So
different authorities and stakeholders want Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities to establish a regional zoo in Toro to aid school children and those who cannot access game parks. However, there is a need to invest in affordable hotels for both local and international tourists, improvement on user access roads, and set up appropriate game park fee for local tourists.
But I want to assure you of a fact that everyone in the tourism sector, every traveller is catered for. That's why I said as cheap as 35,000 shillings. But still deliberately, as a ministry, through UWA, we have agreed to open up most of these protected areas more so that we get out, so that we create more availability of accommodation.
Minister of State for Tourism Martin Mugara Bahinduka asked responsible authorities to work together in the development of local tourism in the region.
If you look at the year 2022, we had around 363,000 visitors that entered all the parks in this country. We have never had such a number visit our parks from the time parks were established or from the time Uganda became a country.
According to Mugara, the rebranding of Uganda Tourism Board to explore Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, has made a tremendous job in the campaign to promote domestic tourism in the country.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
And now onto the world of sports. Victoria Pearls registered a second win in the ongoing Victoria Series after defeating the UAE by 6 wickets. The tournament that entered its third day at Lugogo Cricket Oval saw the Pearls take on UAE in the afternoon game. Uganda elected to bowl first, limiting UAE to 98 runs and 7 wickets in 20 overs. In the second innings, the Pearls chased the score in 17 overs, posting 99 runs for 4 wickets and claiming the win. The win becomes the second for Uganda after they beat Rwanda by 7 wickets on the opening day, Tuesday the 18th of April 2023. In the other games of the day, Tanzania defeated Kenya by 101 runs with a total score of 146 runs for 4 and Kenya 45 runs all out. Tomorrow, Uganda will face Tanzania in the morning and UAE will be back in action against Rwanda in the afternoon. All games will be played at the Lugogo Cricket Oval. And with that, UBC News Tonight has come to an end. Thank you so much for your company. Now, on behalf of those who work tirelessly behind the scenes and myself, we wish you a blessed night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.